Oh, hey YouTubers, this is kind of my last video on this particular trailer build out. There's a couple of things I've done that I thought you might be interested in. First thing is the tongue box. This is also a Harbor Freight product. Comes in really handy for putting in your bungee cords, a couple of loose tools. Here's some more. This is a little pouch for little bits of trailer hardware that you might need, maybe extra lug nuts, whatever, just loose stuff that you need to keep secured. I got some of those Ratcheting cargo ties too, which are incredibly cheap and they work really well. Got a couple of sets of those, a nice box there to hold the loose ones. And this is I got the tag right on there. This is 64795. And they actually have two of them in their catalog. The other one's a little bigger, but as you can see, this is a pretty nice fit on the tongue of this 1,720 pound Super Duty folding trailer. I like it. It's a nice fit. It goes on very sturdy with just 2 U-bolts. I like it because it's got a piston here to keep the lid up when you got it open. Pops up really nice. I also like the seal that goes around the edge of the lid. You can see it's like a foam seal, and then the edge here is flat. It's pressed with a flat edge. So when this thing comes down, it's really nice. It's you know, I forget the cost, but it's reasonable. Here's another shot of my final on the loading ramp with the bungee cords on it. Those cords actually hold it really nice. I've driven it quite a bit now with the ramp in place, and those bungees hold the ramp really securely. Another little add-on that I did. Here's the outer hook of the rafter hangers that I use to support the loading ramp, and I just put a couple of little saddle clamps for pipes. You can get them in any hardware store. They're really cheap, and I just wanted to have a little extra protection on there just to make sure that if the trailer goes over a bump, the rafter hook doesn't pop up. There's no risk of that. It'll keep it from moving forward or backward, and it keeps from popping up. Keeps the hook from popping up when the trailer's in motion if you hit a big pothole or something. And then the last thing I wanted to show you, so I got these saddle clamps. I put 2 on each side so that if I want to carry the ramp on the other side for some reason, I can do it over there too. I don't know if you can see that there. I've got 2 of them on the edge over there too, so I can carry it either side. The last thing is I had an issue when we had some rains and the trailer was being outside. I didn't want the deck getting rained on, particularly if I had any stuff sitting on it. So I was using just a couple of things that I'd stacked up in the trailer bed to put an A pitch in the tarp that I had it covered with. And seeing how well that worked made me want to come up with an A-frame thing that could hold up the tarp with no post in the middle, no support in the middle. It's just supported by the top edges of the fence. And so what I came up with is I thought of a lot of different possibilities, you know, like fiberglass rods and, you know, pieces of conduit pipe, you know, put together with clamps. But in the end, I decided on this basically a bunch of 1x3 boards cut to size, and then, you know, so that they hold the pitch. And these are the ones I made it out of. These boards here are just furring strips, 1x3, very cheap. I used a piece of 1x3 fur in the top, because that's the cross brace that takes the most stress. As you can see, it wiggles a bit, but that's good, because when the trailer's moving around, you want it to give a little bit. You don't want it to be, you know, rigid so much. One issue that I had was these are all connected to one another with just simple 2-inch hinges with removable pins. So you just get the hinges in place. I can't tell you, there's quite a few. There's they come in like a 2-pack at any hardware store or whatever. They're pretty cheap, but you end up having to get quite a few of them to make this work. These kind of tripod pieces on the front and the back ends, I just did those angles with a jigsaw, and then I braced them with a piece of plywood and some wood glue, so that this 3-piece strut is very strong. Same thing in the back here, and I also rounded off the edges on all of these boards so that they don't dig into the tarp. When you have a tarp draped over this thing, I'm going to break this video and show you with the tarp, show you the assembly with the tarp covering it, just because it just worked out so nice. I thought some of you might want to consider something like that yourselves. Only last thing I would say is I found out pretty quick trying to use the thing on the road that there's really no easy way to keep the original pins in the hinges, you know, using those to secure it. So what I did is I just used some baling wire, put it into a little L shape like that, and replaced all the pins with that. And the good thing about this is, you know, if you lose any, it's easy to just replace it. You just cut some more wire and make some new ones. And when I'm not really going anywhere far, I just put them in like that with one side. But if I'm going to be traveling any distance over, you know, bumpy roads or whatever, you can just bend that side to make sure that the thing doesn't come loose, doesn't come out while you're driving. And it's just really easy to, just found that that's really easy to work with. It's a good solution. It's a little looser. They wiggle a bit more than with the original pins and the hinges, but all I really care about is that the thing is stable enough to stay in place and support the tarp, either whether you're just storing it or if you're driving it around. And I've done both. It works fine. If the tarp isn't long enough to cover all the openings in the fence, you get some airflow out the back that kind of whips the tarp around. It can beat them up a little bit. So I'm working now on customizing a tarp to go all the way down to the bottom, you know, to cover all of the air inlets. I'll cut this video and I'll show you how the tarp that I'm using just to store it fits over the top. Okay, so here's what it looks like with the tarp on it. It's just one of the bottom of the line tarps from Harbor Freight. I don't remember the exact size, but as you can see, it doesn't quite fit over the entire structure of the fences. So the airflow goes in there, and the front stays fine, but the back flaps around a bit as the air's traveling, you know, through that tunnel, and then coming out the back puts a lot of stress on the tarp as you're driving with the tarp on. But it does stay down. It doesn't you know, go crazy loose or anything. As you can see, the substructure is pretty strong, certainly strong enough to hold the tarp, and deal with the force of any wind resistance that's coming on it as you're traveling around. I'm just really happy with this little addition. Combination of all the other things I've done in the previous videos, this makes it pretty complete. I mean, as you can see, it can even probably be used as like an emergency tent, you know, if you needed to. I think it'd be actually pretty comfortable compared to some tents I've slept in when I've been out in the outdoors, you know, using that kind of thing. So anyway, I just wanted to make a little video piece and show you these last few things. And you know, once again, this trailer has just worked out great for me, and you know, hope that these videos give you guys some ideas about what you can do with yours. Take care.